If you didn't see AEW Fight for the Fallen last night, don't worry, this very condensed recap will tell you everything you need to know. So, Fight for the Fallen took place Wednesday, January the 1st from Harris Cherokee Center in Asheville, North Carolina. Proceeds going to benefit victims of Hurricane Helene in the area. Over 3,300 tickets were distributed to the show according to WrestleTix. Here is what took place. Hangman Page defeated Orange Cassidy clean with the buckshot lariat in the opening contest. And this was a match between two people who really felt like they needed a win. They had both lost on two straight pay-per-views. So the match was basically 50-50 until Paige got the win in the end. Then after the match, Paige continued to attack Orange Cassidy. He gave him the dead eye until security came out, broke it up. It looked like he was going to attack him further. Christopher Daniels intervened, and Paige ended up striking Christopher Daniels before the segment came to a close. The Hurt Syndicate's Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin defeated the Acclaimed in the second match, and we saw more dissension between Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. The finish of the match came as Max Caster blind tagged himself in. Anthony Bowens objected to this. The two were arguing, and it led to Bowens not staying in his team's corner and kind of walking up the ramp a little bit and watching the end of the match from there. And then the Hurt Syndicate, with a 2-on-1 advantage, they were able to make Caster tap as Lashley had him in the Hurt Lock. So it's probably not long now until this team officially disbands. In the third match, Julia Hart defeated Jamie Hayter when she gave her the poison black mist behind the referee's back. Although it kind of seemed like the mist didn't really hit Jamie Hayter anyway. So we'll see what happens to Jamie Hayter now that she's been black misted. Some wrestlers turn very spooky after that, and some wrestlers seem to be not impacted very much at all. A video announcing that Kenny Omega will return to AEW next week aired, and of course Kenny Omega will return to the ring for the first time in over a year on January 5th at Wrestle Dynasty. He takes on Gabe Kidd. Then we got a champagne celebration featuring the TBS champion Mercedes Moné. She introduced a video that highlighted some of her best matches of the year before cutting a promo on Mina Shirakawa and saying that Mina Shirakawa has something Moné wants, and it's that Rev Pro title. Moné versus Shirakawa takes place January 5th at Wrestle Dynasty. Then we had a three-way match featuring Swerve Strickland versus Jay White versus Roderick Strong, with the winner earning the #1 spot in next week's Casino Gauntlet match. And the Casino Gauntlet match is for a shot at the world title in 2 weeks at Maximum Carnage in Cincinnati. So the finish of this match saw Ricochet attack Swerve Strickland from the crowd. So he comes out of the crowd, attacks Swerve Strickland with a pair of scissors, and bloodies him up. Meanwhile, in the ring, Jay White gives the Blade Runner to Roderick Strong and gets the pin, so Jay White has the #1 spot in next week's Casino Gauntlet match. And then Ricochet continues to attack Swerve Strickland after the match until actually it was members of the Undisputed Kingdom who came to Swerve Strickland's rescue to prevent Ricochet from doing any more damage. So Ricochet has really turned into quite a dick. Jeffjerk cut a promo teasing that he was going to retire, only for him to then announce he'd re-sign with AEW and he wants to go after the AEW World Championship, and he declared entry into next week's Casino Gauntlet match. Then they announced Christian Cage versus Hook will take place at Maximum Carnage in 2 weeks, so definitely feels like they are trying to load up that show in Cincinnati. And then we got a backstage segment where the Learning Tree interrupted Rated RKO as they were getting ready to go out for the main event, and so that actually set up a 6-man tag team match, which will take place on Collision. Then we cut to a promo MJF cut backstage after World's End, where he said he's offended that Moxley is locking the AEW World Championship up in a briefcase. MJF said he wants to get his Triple B back, and he's gunning for Moxley and the world title as well. Lots of people gunning for that world championship. Then it was main event time. Rated FTR, the hometown heroes, all three of them live in Asheville, North Carolina. have been working and raising money to help victims of Hurricane Helene. Obviously, they were the big hometown heroes in this one, going up against the top heel stable, the Death Riders and Jon Moxley. And this match continued to preview perhaps an upcoming title match between Moxley and the guy who's now named Cope. When Adam Copeland was introduced for this match, they announced him as the Rated R superstar Cope. So he's not Adam Copeland anymore. He appears to be going with just Cope. He likes those one-syllable names, like Edge. Then the finish of the match took place just after Moxley and Adam Copeland had kind of brawled around the arena, and we got this little preview of what a singles match between the two could look like. Jay White actually interfered and gave Wheeler Uda a Blade Runner. And earlier in the show, Jay White had cut a promo backstage about how Wheeler Uda had cost him the World Championship at World's End by breaking up a pin he had during the match. So Jay White, getting a little revenge on Wheeler Uda for that, comes out, gives him the Blade Runner. Then FTR gives Uda the Shatter Machine. Then Cope hits the spear, pins him, and the baby faces win. To close the show, they celebrate in the ring. And then after the show went off the air, AEW posted a video of what Rated FTR said to the live crowd, talked about the resilience of the Asheville community. And it was a really, really cool moment and a really awesome Fight for the Fallen show. The annual charity show that the company does every year. I thought this was awesome, and we'll get to see Rated FTR again in a six-man tag team match on Collision. So overall, I thought it was a great show. They had a great crowd in a building that was set up for about the amount of people that they had. It wasn't quite the same vibe as Hammerstein, but it was still very, very cool. So it very much felt like, all right, we're starting. This is like a new season. World's End just happened. The Continental Classic is over, and we're moving into new storylines, new feuds, and everybody's gunning for the world title. So very cool. Thanks again, everyone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with others.